There are many reasons why people like movies, aren't there? And while the answer might differ in some ways from person to person, let's be honest. We love how movies make us feel and the new experiences they bring us. Romance fans want to root for those couples that make their hearts swoon. Comedy fans will always remember those scenes that made them laugh as if there was no tomorrow. Thriller fans want excitement and tension. And horror fans want a new source of nightmares. In 2004, they were introduced to a charming little movie called Saw. And it was a new experience, alright. From the psychological torment of the traps to the performance and the twist at the ending, Saw was unlike anything else horror fans had seen before. It didn't take long for it to become the talk of the gore town. Seriously, it was almost as if this was the Frozen of the horror genre. And of course, it received a ton of sequels. Some were good, some were boring, and some were the sorry attempt of milking this cash cow as much as humanly possible while driving a bullet through its skull at the same time. And I'll be trying to rank all of them today. Let's see. For A, I'll put I Want to Play a Game. This tier is for the best movies in the franchise. Great plot, great traps, the works. For B, Survive by a Scratch. Yeah, I'm not good with titles for this type of thing, sue me. Anyway, this is for the movies that are still good, just not on the same level as the I Want to Play a Game tier. I can ignore the flaws and all, but yeah, they're still there. Here, you're still alive. The movies that are in the middle. I still enjoy them, but I think they are clearly lacking the same quality as the better Saw movies. Not enough to toss them in the trash can, but enough that I won't be watching them as often as the others. Not bad, but also not good. The mutilated but survived. Those moves are pretty bad. You know when you watch just one or two scenes of a movie and ignore the rest? That's what this spot's for. The only reason the entries here aren't on the worst of the worst tier is because of one scene, most likely a trap, that I enjoyed. But not to the point of wasting an hour of my life just to get to that part. For the last, game over. As I said, worst of the worst, no saving grace, no good characters, no nothing that I found worthwhile. So let's begin. First, of course, is Saw. Definitely I want to play a game, no question. It's not just because it was the first one, but because of how it balances gore with psychological horror. I mean, most of the plot is Dr. Gordon and Eden locked in that room, but it never gets boring. The characters are great, the plot is awesome, and the other traps were also some of the best if you ask me. I might even do a ranking every Saw trap video too someday. Anyway, yeah, Saw was definitely one of the best in the whole franchise. I wish the sequels had been more like that. It's not that all of them were bad, of course, but most of them relied too much on the gore and not nearly enough on the psychological aspect. And some of the traps got way too fancy and elaborated for me. But that's just the opinion of a little plague doctor. Next, Saw 2. This is easily not only one of the best Saw sequels, but also one of the best horror movie sequels. I love the scenes with John Kramer and Detective Matthew. We get to learn more about John himself and his motivations, but not so much that he stops being interesting. It's that balance that we need in order to understand the villain and still be wary of him. While most of the victims are the old bland sack of blood and guts, the interactions between Joes that stand out still make you believe that those people are real and in danger. Amanda revealing herself as Jigsaw's apprentice was a great, new idea at the time and a nice twist. I still remember how shocked I was during that part. I was really not expecting it. Goes to the I Want to Play a Game. Saw 3. Oh boy. If you ask me, that was the first symptom of a case of sequelitis. Having a man who lost his son in an accident, Jeff I think it was, being forced to decide whether or not to save the people he blamed for it wasn't a bad idea in itself, but I just don't think it fits a Saw movie. At least not when considering the points that Kramer made in the last two movies. And certainly not when they added that detail of his wife miscarrying and Kramer going after the man responsible for it. But anyway, I think this is when things started to get a little unclear regarding some of the victims. This is also when the franchise started to rely too much on being a guts and entrails feast with the tradition of having obligatory review in each movie. The part about the doctor being forced to keep John alive was a little better, and some details were still interesting, but that's it. You're still alive then. As I said, not that bad, but also not that good. Now Saw 4. I've heard that this is often regarded as one of the worst Saw sequels, and I agree. I had to actually look it up because I barely remembered this one. Turns out I had good reasons for that. Most of the Saw movies have at least something to show you. Saw 4 had nothing. Even if ignoring that John Kramer died in Saw 3 and this is where the Apprentice Club Crazy Feast started, this movie still had a lot of problems. Yes, some of the traps were cool, but the plot overall was pretty lame and so were the characters. Compared to the other movies, this is one of the most boring ones. I didn't even care about finding out more about John Kramer's backstory this time or about Jill. It felt unnecessary. Like they wanted to add more and more to the character but were out of ideas. What's next? A prequel of John Kramer as a child or something? In the end, I barely remember this movie and what I do remember, I could live without. Game over, no question about it. Saw 5. I don't exactly dislike this movie, but at times it feels just so weak compared to how the series started. There are some good moments, but the psychological horror, by this point, is almost completely gone. And while this might get my soul fan card revoked, I have to be honest. I always thought that Hoffman was an awful successor for Jigsaw. John Kramer was a great character, but Hoffman? Not even a little bit. Also, while the traps were great in theory, the execution wasn't. It was just far too obvious for anyone watching that those characters were meant to work together to survive. And I know they were under a lot of stress and scared, but that lady even took the extra keys with her. You can't show her having the presence of mind to think ahead like this, and then have her not realize that Joe's shelters were big enough for two people. But okay, the movie has good moments. How Strand survives his trap, how he investigates Hoffman only to be framed, how he dies. And while I thought the flashbacks were rather unnecessary, well, a Saw movie is just not the same without at least one scene with Robin Bell. Hmm, oh well, mutilated but survived. I really like some scenes and the potential, but there are just too many parts that I prefer to skip through. Saw 6. Some of those movies are not easy to rank for me. Most of them have at least something that makes me wish I could give them a better spot, and at the same time, the bad parts make me wonder if I shouldn't take more points from them. This is kind of the case with Saw 6. Look, it gets preachy, and the parts with Hoffman are still far from keeping my attention, but I like the traps. And while even before this movie the victims were not all innocent little lambs, I felt like this case was somehow more connected to John and his original philosophy. Oh well, we're still alive. This tire is getting more moves than I thought it would. Saw 7. Also known as Saw 3D. Uh, okay, so the plot with the guy lying that he survived a trap and becoming famous and so on. I enjoyed that. A lot. Sure, what he did was insanely stupid. Like, beyond the usual horror movie stupidity syndrome. But the idea was still interesting, and I enjoyed most of the traps. Sure, the characters were bland, but by this time, we already knew that half of the cast would always be made of doomed characters, so we weren't expecting much depth from them anymore. The review at the ending with Dr. Gordon was predictable, because yeah, what else would they bring him back otherwise? But not in a bad way. Did it feel like they pulled that out of nowhere because they didn't know what else to do? Yes. But at the same time, it felt like the franchise went full circle. It started with Dr. Gordon and it ended with him. So the movie has its good points, right? Maybe. But the rest sucks so bad. Look, I already didn't like or cared about Jill or Hoffman, so having the rest of the plot centered around those two? No, thank you. It doesn't help that some parts of the movie are so damn boring. So yes, the good points that the movie has just don't make up for the bad. Also, I know this was 3D or whatever, but some of those visuals look pretty bad. Not to mention the times when we see pink blood. A game over then. It could have been a mutilated but survived, but no. But of course, that's not the real ending, is it? Jigsaw. And now we're in the why are still making those movies part of the franchise. I'm sorry, I like Saw and all, but let's be honest. The story's over. What else can they do with it? Oh, shut up, I'll get to you in a minute. So, Jigsaw, huh? It's, um, not bad for a movie that's obviously trying to milk a dead cow for all she's worth. Look, it wasn't as bad as some of the others, and it was great to see John Kramer again, but the movie still didn't bring anything new to the table, and it was weak as hell. Even the review of "Oh, the game you're watching actually happened years ago" was lame. As for the review that Kramer had yet another apprentice, I think this is getting out of hand. It was a nice new idea at first, but now it's just overused. Even Slade from Teen Titans wasn't this obsessed with having an apprentice. Overall, unnecessary, boring movie. Eh, mutilated but survived. But just because it didn't annoy me like Saw 4 and because John Kramer is always great. Spiral. Ah, see? This is the sort of movie that deserves the game over tier. Even if you ignore how boring Spiral was, it's just out of place in the franchise, even for a spin off. Even the traps were way over the top. Making them as gruesome as you can doesn't necessarily make them good, or the rest of the movie for that matter. I don't mind gore as long as it comes with a decent plot, and Spyro just doesn't have it. Everything about it, the plot, the characters, it was just so boring. It's easily one of the worst movies in the entire franchise. Game over, game over, game over. So 10. I had the lowest expectations for this movie, and I was pleasantly surprised. This is easily one of the best Saw sequels. It said it is a return to the franchise's roots, and it's true. The plot and the victims are a little more developed. It has a good explanation as to why we're seeing John Kramer again, rather than, death. And we get to see Kramer and Amanda actually working together. I think the only weak points are, well, the traps. The whole medical team fits the plot and all, but they are just impossible. I know this franchise basically plays with the limits of what the human body can take with little to no care, but the traps this time were way beyond the limit. And that's saying something considering this franchise. They were cool and all, but they still lost the movie some points. Easily survived by a scratch. Almost I want to play a game too. Well, guys, that's it. I'm a little surprised, honestly. This ranking turned out a lot different from what I thought it would be, but it was fun. I had never done a ranking video before. Maybe I'll make more in the future. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you the next time. Stay safe!